No. Hi everybody, and thanks a million for tuning in to the Organic Growers of Ireland information session on the organic farming scheme. My name is Noel Clinton, and on behalf of the OGI, I want to thank people for emailing us your questions that you wanted answered about the organic farming scheme. It's really great for us to hear about growers out there, so we do really appreciate it. We just want to remind you that we are always very keen to hear from growers about what is happening for them, or if there's any ideas you'd like to share with us in the wider growing community. So please link in with us and we would love to hear from you. Our email address is info@organicgrowersireland.ie. So I'm joined today by Kevin McKeever. Kevin is part of the organic unit with the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine. He has kindly agreed to chat with us today about the organic farming scheme. I suppose we're aware that the information out there on the organic farming scheme is pretty general across all farming groups, and we thought it would be helpful to have information available that's targeted to horticultural systems and small-scale fruit and veg growers. So Kevin will plough on with a short presentation on the OFS, and then we will follow up with a mix of questions for Kevin and growers, for Kevin from growers and our board. Kevin, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks very much, Noel. Hello everyone from the Organic Growers of Ireland. I'm just going to give a presentation now on the supports available. Just going to share my screen here. Okay, now I just want to outline the supports that are available to indeed all organic farmers, both large farmers and the horticulture sector, be it small or large. So firstly, just to give you an overview of the sector. So there is 90,000 hectares of organic land in Ireland currently. That's gone up from 74,000 in 2020, and of that there is 568 hectares declared as horticulture. And again, there's an increase there again. In 2020 there was 485 hectares declared as horticultural land. Of that, we have almost 2,000 producers, be it horticultural, livestock, tillage, and again, of those, there's 1,734 in the organic farming scheme. Just to focus now on the horticulture side, you could see from the screen there, organic vegetables, 418 hectares in 2021. And then we've separated potatoes from that, 81 hectares of organic potatoes. Organic fruit, 69 hectares. That's given a total of 568 hectares. Small, yes, we appreciate that, but we can see that it is increasing, which is positive from our perspective. And the number of growers, 300 back in 2017, that's up to 360 according to our 2021 figures. And I think we're all aware of the need to import substitution. 70% of organic fruit and veg being consumed in Ireland is imported. So we are determined to reduce that figure. Of course, some of the fruit not possible to grow in our climate, but there is definitely a market out there for organic vegetables, and we want to put supports in place to assist organic horticulture to meet this challenge. Okay, for the purposes of the organic farming scheme, so the eligibility criteria is to be an active farmer, to register with an organic control body and register with the Department of Agriculture. So you must hold an organic license in advance of submitting an organic farming scheme application. And then, well, it's a two-step process. So at the moment there is a scheme open, which will be closing on the 8th of April. So you would put in your organic farm scheme application and then declare your lands on BPS before the BPS closing line on closing date of the May the 15th. And also for eligibility for the organic farm scheme, you must complete a 25-hour course in organic farming practices. And again, that due to COVID and the difficulty in actually doing courses, and that we're allowing a period up to the 30th of November this year for to submit the evidence of completion of a training course. And specifically for horticulture, there's a minimum area of 1 hectare of horticulture to be eligible to join the scheme. For livestock farmers, it's 3 hectares. And again, this is to do with the payments, provided you have 50% of the area sown each year, you get the full payment to allow for crop rotation and all that. So looking at the payment rates for horticulture, so up to 6 hectares for the in-conversion period is a payment of €300 per hectare, and thereafter that it is down to the 220, which is similar to all grassland farmers. And then for fully organic, after the 2-year in-conversion period, the payment is €200 per hectare, and thereafter 170. And again, all farmers would get the €30 per hectare for anything over 70. But as well as the organic farming scheme, there is also an organic capital investment scheme. And again, for the horticulture sector, minimum area of 1 hectare. We would see this as, I suppose, a level of commercial farming. So there's a 40% grant aid available there, top up of 20% for a qualified young farmer, so potentially 6% grant aid, and the type of investments. Now, these are all available on the department's website, but just a flavour of it. We've got polytunnels, weeders, netting for crop production, irrigation systems, storage units, all those types of things. And look, there's a lot more on the list, but they're available on the department's website. On top of that, we also have an organic processing grant scheme. And this is really for, we would look at each application on a case-by-case basis. Like, it's very general. It's a development of the facilities for preparation, grading, packing, storage, and distribution of organic produce. So it doesn't fit into just one particular area. So, like, we would advise OGI members to, you know, if they're considering, you know, like maybe a small storage, cold store area, maybe packing, labeling, you know, anything at all like that. So we're talking about a 40% grant aid available here, and the cost of the project must be greater than or equal to €3,000. So that kind of gives an idea of what we're looking at. But look, we would welcome applications from the horticulture sector, and it is available to registered organic operators. So because it's on the processing side, there's no minimum land area as such. So it is something that possibly could assist a lot of OGI members. And again, further information is available on the department's website, and also email organic@agriculture.gov.ie, and we will deal with your query. So thanks very much, and I'm available now for any questions. Okay, thank you very much.
No, thanks really for that, Kevin. I had to run actually and get the battery, it wasn't plugged in. So yeah, that was great, and great information there. And as you say, a lot of the information available on the department's website. So we're just going to go through some of the questions. Some of them you would have dealt with not there, but I'll just go through that they have been emailed in. I'm going to read them off this other screen. So there's been many intensive certified organic market gardens operating around the country on holdings of 1 hectare or less. These market gardens meet a huge need in the community through the sale of organic vegetables, fruit and eggs, through farmers market, box schemes and other direct sales. However, the work of these farmers generally receives little acknowledgement and thus no support. What is happening with reviewing the OFS to consider support for commercial organic holdings under 1 hectare?
Yeah, and I guess my presentation did focus on greater than or equal to 1 hectare. So it is something we're looking at, most definitely. And in the new cap, we hope that we will be in a position to provide further support for those under 1 hectare. But one thing I would say is the organic processing grant, what I mentioned in my presentation there, that is available for a range of different enterprises, shall we say. So perhaps there could be intensive market gardens that could avail of that grant scheme. That's a 40% grant.
And that would be for if they were under 1 hectare or less, there'd be consideration.
It would indeed, yeah, because it's just for processing. Like, so the grant there, if the application is €3,000 or higher, it would be eligible for consideration. Yeah.
I've got my breath back after running to get the battery there. So the second question coming in is there any consideration to providing an administrative payment to support people with the cost of completing the application where their OFS payment will be small, such as an incentive to apply? For example, for someone working 2 hectares of fully organic converted land would only receive around €400 a year. The cost of their time in applying or doing the training course might not make this worth it. So I think the person, sort of, is there any grant towards the sort of administration end of it?
Again, there isn't a grant there at the moment, but we'll certainly, like, in our submission to Brussels under the new CAP strategic plan, that went in last December. So that's with our colleagues in Brussels at the moment. So it is in draft form. So we'll certainly, it can be something that we will look at, but we're hearing this from organic horticulturists and, for the small scale ones. So it is definitely something on the radar.
Very good, very good. So the next couple of questions are on the general OFS eligibility. Again, you might have touched on some of these, but we'll just go through it. To qualify for the OFS, you have to complete an approved organic training course. Teagasc offer this course as a 25-block course. Having checked the syllabus of the course, it includes organic standards and principles, animal husbandry and grassland management. I have a horticultural holding. I won't be managing animals. I have completed a level 5 QQI module in organic standards and principles through an organic horticultural college. The OGI also do this module via their internship. This module I completed at the Hort College is targeted to horticultural systems, so it did not go into animal husbandry or grassland management. However, it looks very similar to the course offered by Teagasc. So the main question here, I suppose, is does this module count towards the OFS requirement, or do they have to do the Teagasc 25-block course also? Sorry, yep, go ahead.
Yes, Noel. Yeah, with regard to that question there, it would appear that clearly the course that this individual has completed would qualify them to join the scheme. But what I would ask, perhaps if they would send us in the details, maybe email it in to us, organic@agriculture.gov.ie. We'll examine it, have a look at the modules, and we'll give them a definitive answer on that. Okay.
Yeah, Per, because I think what they were sort of getting at, and it is a question we've been asked by interns, and that is it just the Teagasc or the NOTS course that is acceptable, or do the QQI organic standards, basically from the organic college and the different courses they got there? So do they count towards it when they're not going to be doing the animal husbandry?
Yeah. Well, I think and we do say our equivalent, you know, so we kind of leave it open so that we don't want to cut people off to say that, no, you haven't done this course, you know. So we've it left in that way, but and I suppose the fear is that if we list all courses, there's always one that you leave out, you know. So but you know, I think we'll certainly look at that one. Okay,
lovely, thank you. So another person has asked, if I'm approved for the OFS, how many years will I receive the yearly payment before I have to apply again?
Okay, well, the Organic Farming Scheme, it's a 5-year contract. So you apply now and then you declare your lands on your BPS application. So every year then you would need to declare your lands on your BPS application. Similar to every farmer out there, they must, to qualify for any schemes, you have to have submitted a BPS application each year. So one Organic Farm Scheme application at the start, and then an annual BPS application.
Lovely, and that leads into the next question was, which you have answered, do I have to complete a basic payment scheme application before I can apply? And what does this involve? I think some people get sort of put off by what's all involved in the form filling out.
Well, again, if you register for ag food, so it's agfood.ie, so, and you get your various PIN numbers and that, you must have a herd ID or some form of ID, you know. If a grower doesn't have livestock, they would still contact their district veterinary office and they would be issued with we still call it a herd ID, but a reference number, really, you know. It's in the same format. Yeah.
Grand. So next question is, I have a small organic horticultural holding between 1 and 2 hectares, and I manage organically and chickens for egg production on the same site, approximately 200 chickens. What type of application do I make? Does it come under horticulture or other?
Again, in this case, I would suggest that it's horticulture, it's horticultural land. So declare it as horticulture and on the BPS application with the crop type that is grown, you know. So if it's carrots, declare it as carrots and on the BPS application. Yeah.
I have a 2 hectare holding. However, some of this land includes a house and a farm roadway. Do I only count the land that is strictly in production?
Again, yes, it's the land parcels. The land parcels with specific utilizable agricultural area. So you would be excluding buildings and roadways and things like that.
The next question is, I'm looking to convert my commercial holding to organics and apply for the OFS. I'm aware on the department website regarding the OFS that to be eligible for the in-conversion rate of payment for the maximum of 2 years, the online application for the scheme must be lodged within 4 months of the commencement date of the organic license. I will not be able to start the conversion process in time for the OFS closing date in April. Should I wait to convert to organics until 4 months before the next OFS application opens next year in order to avail of the in-conversion rate of payment for the maximum of 2 years?
Well, again, to maximize the payments, yes, wait until they're ready to come in. Now, however, I suppose it depends on your enterprise. But if you're anxious to, you know, convert as early as possible, and you want your product to be sold as organic, so, and it won't be classified as organic until the 2 years. The 2-year in-conversion period has elapsed. So you know, it's a matter for the horticulture farmer grower themselves to decide. But definitely, if they want to maximize payments, wait until they're ready to join the scheme.
The last couple of questions here are on other grants again, which you would have touched in your presentation. In order to apply for funding support under the Organic Capital Investment Fund, do I have to be receiving the OFS payment?
No. The only thing you need to do there is to be a registered organic farmer. So registered with one of the organic control bodies based here in Ireland.
Okay. Does inclusion in the organic farming scheme exclude a farmer from any other available schemes, for example, GLAS?
No. But again, there's certain actions in the GLAS scheme that an organic farming scheme payment is not eligible on. Basically, one that comes to mind, low input permanent pasture. You're not entitled to a payment on the OFS parcel, on that particular parcel, due to the fact that it's deemed to be a double payment by EU rules. So basically you can't pay someone twice for doing the same action.
What supports are available for the department organic unit for horticultural holdings under 1 hectare? I think that's the sort of big question that a lot of people have been
asking. And again, it is something that we're aware of, and will certainly, with the new cap coming in 2023, it's something we're looking at. But currently, I would say the organic processing grant, you know, if you're growing for sale, you may avail of that grant to assist you in some way. But we appreciate that it is something that for small growers, that it's something we can certainly look at, and we are looking at it for the next cap commencing in 2023. Okay.
And then I think the last question here was, are there any horticultural grants, not necessarily organic, that our members can avail of? So basically, are they free to apply for any other grants that are available at the department?
They would indeed, yeah. So there is, like, we have a horticulture division in the department. Again, details of that is on the department's website. So they would have grants available for all horticulturists. And I suppose the only thing that, if you're getting a grant in one side, you know, of the department, you wouldn't be entitled to a grant again. But certainly, if there's something there that we don't have, that they could have availed of there, most definitely, yeah, they're entitled to do that.
Lovely. And then just the last little bit was more so a comment that came back from the feedback. We've done a survey with our members from the OGA, and one of the main things, it could be, as you're saying, you're thinking about the next cap, was the members have suggested grants for assisting with the startup costs, or grants relating to productivity rather than acreage, as obviously a lot of these horticultural holdings are highly intensive and produce high yields. So, you know, as you say, a lot of grants are hectare based, and, you know, on that sort of scale. So, you know, a lot of our members feel that because people might be on 2 hectares or less, they might still employ 2 or 3 people, and the high amount of output that's going out of these small things needs a bit of recognition. So is that something again that you're looking at for the cap, as you alluded to earlier?
Absolutely, because again, exactly what you've said, Noel. You know, you might have a hectare or so, and but it could be high intensive, and could be a lot of polytunnels or whatever on that. So yeah, no, we acknowledge that, and it is something we're looking at. Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, with the setup grants, I know a lot of, especially coming from the internship point, where the OGI works with a lot of the people coming out of that, they can sort of be put off nearly with the setup cost, you know, with polytunnels and that. And I know there's the capital investment fund, but would there be something that you're looking at again for maybe introducing for new entrants into the sector?
Yeah, well, we look at the whole thing, from startup costs, and from the perspective of rather than the area, looking at the enterprise itself, and as you say, the turnover that's involved. Yeah, so we'll look at that whole thing, Noel. Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely. Well, Kevin, that's great. Thanks very much. You've answered a lot of questions there that our members have sent in, and our board members too. And we look forward to seeing what happens in the years coming ahead. And I look forward to working with the department continually over the coming years. And thanks very much for making yourself available today.
Yeah, no, thanks very much, Noel, to you and to OGI members. And look, if there's anything we can assist with, you know, drop us an email, and we'll do our best. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Cheers.
All right, cheers.